It is so funny to me that now I understand what some of you all go through when there's like a pre-sale or a shop update and you're like, oh my god, I gotta rush because I love this dyer or this bag maker or whatever, and you guys sit at your computer and you like sit there and you wait for the clock to strike, and then you're like frantically getting, because let me tell you something, baby. Trying to get these Beyonce tickets was chaotic, but we secured them. So I may or may not see you there when she comes to Chicago. Let's get into it. Take 58. What's good, peacemakers? Welcome back to another episode of the Piece4PeaceCrafting Podcast. I'm Michael, and this is my... Sorry. Let's try this again. This is my crafty corner of the YouTube universe. I forgot what I was saying now because I started laughing. It's all good. Welcome to you all. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. If you would like to find me on other social media, you can do so by following me over on Instagram as Piece4PeaceCrafting or on Ravelry as Piece4PeaceCraft. That's the number 4, not the word for. Just so we're all clear. If you're into music, you can find the podcast. You can find a playlist that goes with this podcast over on Spotify. That's the Piece4PeaceCrafting Podcast playlist. I think you need to put all those words in, but if you have trouble finding it, please just shoot me a DM over on Instagram or write a comment below. I have no problem sending out the link to people. That's just, we can talk about it later. Sorry for all the giggling. The dog, Kendrick, is outside of the room today, hanging out with my roommates. Today is Sunday. Normally I record on a Saturday, but we all had to work yesterday. So today we're just like hanging out around the house. I wanted to get this done early because I have kind of a lot to show you all. And he's outside of the room and there's a lot happening. There's a dog that is our neighbor. He really wants to go outside and see. It's a no, because we all have things to do. All right, how's everyone been? It's been 2 weeks. Things have been kind of crazy outside. My like normal life, just very busy, just kind of frantic. The weather here, we are in fake spring, the first of a couple. It's been like kind of warm, so like 40s. We're supposed to get to the 50s this week, but if you are in this area of the world, you know that that will not last for very long because it is February and we still get snow in April, so woohoo. Other than that, I have to say that I have been feeling very creative. I think I talked about this a little bit last time too. Like I just want to like cast everything on. I'm super inspired to like do a bunch of projects right now, both going from my stash and some stuff that we'll talk about in a minute that I needed to purchase yarn for. Yeah, and for me, my like talking about wanting to knit from stash is not a hard, definitive, like you cannot buy anything. It's just like I have so much stuff like outside of just what you see behind me that like needs to be something, and I feel very good right now that I have such a drive to want to create things. So I hope you all feel that too. Maybe it's the start of the new year. It's like spring is coming, so like a rebirth of life in our craftiness, but I'm embracing it and just trying to go with the flow and do all of the things. So before we get into what I've been working on, I just want to shout out to all of you. In the last episode, I said that we were close to 3,500 subscribers, and I would do something once we hit that. And sure enough, you guys are amazing, and we have some new friends that have joined. And so we've hit that marker. We've gone a little bit over it. So welcome to all of you who finally decided to hit the subscribe button. If you're watching and you're enjoying the content, or you got a giggle out of me being a hot mess, feel free to hit the subscribe button. You can do all that fun YouTube stuff like comment, subscribe, ring the bell if you wish, if you want to know when new videos are being uploaded. So with that, we're going to do a giveaway. So if you know Caleb from Drowning in Yarn, he reached out to me and was like, oh, I know that you're going to be doing a giveaway for something. I'd like to contribute to that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice of you to do that. So Caleb just released an app for, I believe it's only for iOS devices. So sorry if you are not an iOS user. But he released an app that's called Yarn Stash, I believe. And it's basically an app that helps you catalog what's in your stash, and you can reference it, make notes on the different things that you may have in your stash. I've downloaded it. I think that I'm primarily going to use it to keep a track of some like bigger yarn quantities, so like sweater quantity things, just because sometimes I'm out and about and I'm like, oh, what was that one thing? And I think that this would be a good way for me to go to it, reference how much I have, and then go look up a pattern that I might need or might want to use that yarn for. Now I know some folks use Ravelry, the Ravelry stash for that, and there is something in there that I've never used it, so I don't want to speak too much on it, but that you can look at a pattern and it'll say, oh, you have this in your stash to use it. But because Ravelry is not accessible to everyone, this may be a good alternative for you to at least have a place where you can store it all and see, what you have, and then, go to respective websites, designers' websites, to find out what their new patterns are, and if you still have, or if you have enough of, why can't I speak? If you have enough yarn in your stash to make said garment or item, whatever it is that you want to make. Oof, that was a lot. So with that, there are going to be 5 winners. I know, crazy, right? And he will send you a code and you can download the app for free. So again, this is for iOS users. If you would like to be entered in that giveaway, let's put Yarn Stash in a comment below. So whatever you want to say, Yarn Stash in the comment, and then I will go in and do a search for those. And then we'll pick 5 people to win. I think what we'll do is once this video goes live, I'll wait a week. Even though I record every 2 weeks, I'll wait a week and then I'll pick people in the comments. So I'll say something in the comment, and if you have Instagram, you can reach out to me via there so that I can send you the code. If you don't have Instagram, just like when I reach out to you in the comments, let me know that you don't. And then we can exchange emails and get it to you that way. I think that this will be the easiest. So that means that if you do comment using Yarn Stash somewhere in your comments, you have to be ready to see my comment. I think doing it, or my response, I think doing it in this way in the comments and after a week will allow for me getting back to people and them not getting back to me, and then I can pull someone else within the 2 weeks that I will be recording again. Does that make sense? So I hope so. So shout out to Caleb. Thank you so much. That was very kind of you. Yeah, and I hope this can help some of us get a little bit more organized, see what we have, pull some things out, take some photos of that yarn, and pop it into the app. All right, I think that's it for right now. If something else pops up, I will definitely just blurt it out, because that's what we do here. There's no structure really to what is going on. All right, so let's get started. I have one finished object and three whips and 2 soon-to-be whips. I know what's going on. All right, so the first thing are, I finished, what? Oh, here's the other one. Oh, they're tangled. I finished my socks that I was making. This is using Naughty, yeah, that's right. Naughty Habits. And this is in their, what was it called? They wrote me such a long comment in the last video, and of course I didn't go back and read it before I started recording, which was so silly. This is in their sock weight yarn. It is 75/25. I do remember that. Superwash merino nylon. And this was a self-striping. And so last time I said that I was really digging these. They reminded me of Easter. Some people put Smarties in the comments, or Sweet Tarts. And I completely agree with that as well. So these match as best they could. Even the heels. I kind of did a bomb job. So these are toe up. I use a Turkish cast on, starting with 14 stitches, and then I increased to 68 stitches because that is what works for me. And then I just knit. I actually don't know how many rows of ribbing I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe about 12 rows of ribbing. I did a 1x1 twist. I did a 1x1 regular rib on these, and then I knew that I wanted to finish on a new color change so that they would match, and they both got the little yellow topper. And then I went in and cut the heel, so an afterthought heel, and yeah, I think they look great. I'm super excited about them. Fun pastellies. I have a little bit of the yarn left over because it was a higher yardage counts. I think it was 460 something, 490 something. I don't really remember. I'm so sorry. But if you go back to the last video, there was a comment and it has all of the details about the yarn in it. These are really dope. I'm really loving just having my on-the-go socks with me all the time. So I was really happy that these are done, and it's a fun pair that reminds me of my trip when I went to South Africa. So yeah, Naughty Habits is out of South Africa. Loved working with this. It's a little bit thinner, which will be nice since it's getting warmer. So I can wear these. I wear my hand knit socks year round. It doesn't bother me to wear them in the spring, summer. I know some people usually just wear them in the fall and winter, but we're year round around these parts. Yeah, so this is my only FO for this week, or this 2 weeks, but that's okay. There's been other things that have been taking up my life, or taking up time in my life. All right, so socks complete. Next thing, where's my book? Okay, I feel like I need to jump around kind of all over the place right now because there's so much stuff just in front of me. So let's do this. These can hang out here and hopefully don't fall. All right, so the next thing I have to show you, my pom-pom book has just turned into a trapper keeper. What? All the patterns I'm working on are just stuck in here. I think it's because I started working on these while I was finishing up something else. Can you hear the dog scratching at the door? He's so mad at me right now. All right, so whip number 1 is I'm working on my Light Festival sweater by Stephen West. And this is I want to say worsted. It's a worsted weight pattern, and it uses US 8 or 5mm needles. And this pattern was originally written to, oh my gosh, everything's falling. It was originally written to be multicolored. Well, there's so much stuff in front of me. And I am doing it all in one solid color. So I'm using, oh, what is it? I know, I can't remember. And I don't have the bag in here with me. Oh, West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft in Kova is my main, and then I'm holding that with a Murky Depths Boucle in Scion. So this is 100% wool. This is like an alpaca silk blend, and I thought these two colors looked really good together. So the boucle has like 800 and something yards to it for 100 grams. And I don't remember what the main color was for the Kova, but I think it's 2 something. I'm so sorry. Everything will be linked below so you can go and find all the stuff. I don't know why I didn't bring that. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm dropping things. Look at me. Yeah, so it's West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft. This is Kova, and it's a DK actually. And this is 246 yards for 100 grams. And because I'm holding it with the boucle, I'm getting the worsted gauge. So here's where I am with that. Last time I finished this huge collar, and I had one more set of increases to do. So here's the collar. I've pinned it down because it was kind of flopping all over the place. I tried this on. It is big, it is huge, it is dramatic. I think once I block it, it will have the drape like it does in the pattern. So I finished the increases, and then I just kept going, and I finished the body now. So the body of the sweater is done. I think it looks great. Oh, it looks really nice on camera too, actually. So the boucle is that darker gray, and the Kova is sort of a brownish gray. But I love, oh yeah, you can see it there. I love the texture that it's giving it. It's the marled look. And I think it looks really good just in one color. It's simple. You can really see the eyelets that are in there. The body looks short. Now that I'm holding it up, but when I tried it on, like, it hits me right where it needs to, and then after blocking, because it's a worsted weight sweater, it will grow a little bit, so then it'll be just perfect. I think this has been such a fun project. I've been just like plowing through it. It was like sitting with me. Oh, this is the brim folded over twice, so it's very huge. It looks like a little mushroom. So now all I have to do is go back and pick up for the sleeves, which I believe are ribbed, and yeah, do the sleeves. If I have a little bit left over and after I block it and feel like I may need a little more length, because I did stop a little bit short of what I normally would, because I figured it would grow some, I'll just go back in and add some length to it, maybe just in the ribbing. I was thinking I would add it like for the body of the sweater, but the ribbing on the sweater is quite long, and I didn't do as much as it said to do. I highlighted it. Some of you are probably shouting because you remember. I'm making the 3rd size. That's what's highlighted. So I'm making the 3rd size of the pattern. Yeah, really enjoyable knits. Apparently I'm loving making all the sweaters now. So I will continue working on this, and hopefully the next time you see, well, today's Sunday. Today's Sunday. I am going to something Wednesday evening. and I kind of want to wear this to that. So that means I have to hurry up and finish recording this episode, get it uploaded so that I can pick up the sleeves and get going on this. If I don't make it, obviously, like, it's whatever, but I would like to wear it to the opening night of watching my friends dance. So we'll see. If not, I have a bunch of other things that I can wear to that, but I did think that this would make for a very dramatic wintertime opening night of going to the ballet. All right, so that's thing one. I can move all these things out of the way. All right, thing two that I've been working on is, I'm not sure if you're new, you won't remember. If you have been here, then you hopefully will remember me talking about this. So for Christmas, I decided that I would, sorry, let me just get the front page for you. I decided that I was gonna make my roommates sweaters, and I would show them options. We would work together to talk about colors and all that jazz. And so I picked a pattern. I don't know why words are so hard for me today. I picked a pattern and showed it to one of the mates, and this was the first one that we landed on. So I'm making the Lento by, I'm just gonna say her first name. It's Joanna. Oh no, it's Jonah. Jonna? I'm gonna hold it up and you all can read it for yourself. One of my favorite things about watching other podcasters is that none of us can pronounce anyone's name. So this is the Lento. It was in Lina magazine. Here's the designer name. I just don't want to mess people's names up. And like, I'm tired of being like, oh, I hope that's right. So I'm making the Lento, which is, it is a DK weight pattern. And so you use a fingering and a mohair held together. And this one is done on US 6 needles, or 4mm needles. And it has the same, is that true? Yeah, it has the same gauge as the Love Note. So I'd made a Love Note before in the yarn that I'm using, and so I didn't swatch for this. I was like, oh, I'll be fine because I know that gauge and working with this yarn. So this is living in a project bag actually that I got when, some of you may remember Fiber Share. It was like a community sharing thing that one of my Fiber Share partners made for me. So I'm using KnitPicks palette and KnitPicks Aloft. So the palette is a fingering weight, and it is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and you get 231 yards for 50 grams. So that's the palette. And the Aloft is 260 yards for the, where is the, 72% kid silk mohair, or super kid mohair, and 28% silk. And these are both in the, so that's the Aloft, and these are both in, there's just a tiny bit left, in the Penny Royal colorway. We wanted to stick with the same palette for both, and they had the same color in both of these. So it's a really light purple, lavendery, pinky lavender color. Really love the color, and I'm happy that the roommate loves it. So let me find, I am making the smallest size of this, so size 1. And I have the body done already. What? So One thing that I did change, I absolutely love the color. One thing that I did change was there's supposed to be a folded brim collar. I didn't want to do that. I didn't think that the recipient would like that. So I just did half of the whatever the pattern said. So it was, let's say it said knit 3 inches. I only did 1.5 inches of ribbing, and then I went directly into the pattern. Another thing that I decided to do was add these eyelets along the raglan. So the pattern is written with just make ones, and Tracy from the Grocery Girls did something similar where she just added yarn overs instead of make ones, just to add a little more detail to it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Now, I should have started the yarn overs while I was doing the short rows, but I was too focused on the short rows. And then once I was done with that, I decided to start adding them. So same but different is, if you look, you can see that it's still all together here. And then once we start getting into that raglan going around, the yarn overs really pop. Now, when I had her try this on, I think that just don't fall. Just having them start a little bit away from the neckline looked really beautiful. And I think once it's blocked and opens up some, it'll be really pretty. So all I have to do are the sleeves on this. In the pattern, it's written to be like a 3/4 length sort of bracelet length sleeve. And I think I'm just gonna go until I run out of the yarn. I got 3 balls of the palette, which is slightly under what the yardage is for the actual pattern, but my row gauge is always bigger than what the patterns say. So I'm pretty confident that, like, with what I have left, I'm gonna have more than enough to either get to the bracelet length and probably do a full sleeve if I wish, just with what I have left. I think this is really beautiful. I have been loving working on it. It has a beautiful halo to it because of the mohair that's being used, and yeah, I'm obsessed with the color. I think it's great. So now all I have to do, same, is oh, it's still connected. Oh, it's because I had her try it on to make sure the length was good. Now all I have to do is pick up for the sleeves on this as well. So I have 2 sweaters that need sleeves. And this should be done pretty soon too. So just to go on a slight tangent, while I was working on that, just moving things over. I'd had some Rowan felted tweed. Do I have one here? Yeah, here's one of the balls. So this is the Rowan felted tweed that I had in this beautiful green color. Does it have a colorway name on it? No. But this is 50% wool, 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. And this was part of the stuff that I got from my friend when she got all that yarn from that D-stash. And I wanted to use this for something. So before I went on my trip to South Africa, I took all that yarn with me because I was like, oh, I'm gonna work on a sweater because the plane rides are like 18 hours and I will have time to just at least get the yoke done. And I swatched for it, let it dry, got on the plane, looked at the numbers, and this was my swatch. And so this was on US 8s, because I think my goal was to make the wrong side sweater by Maxim Sear. I'll try to pop in a picture here of it just so you can see. And I wasn't getting gauge for that. I was too tight of a gauge for what that sweater called for. Now, I recognize that that sweater is written for worsted weight, and I was trying to eke it out in a DK. It's fine. I didn't like the fabric. I knew if I went up a needle size, I really wouldn't like the fabric. And so I just traipsed around with a bunch of yarn in my bag for nothing. But it was a good learning experience. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's not going to work. So that's cool. The reason I say this is, as I've been working on this Lento, I thought, oh, that's Rowan felted tweed to me seemed to be a little bit lighter of a DK. Excuse me. So let me try to do a swatch for the Lento using that and some other KnitPicks mohair that I had. So I took, oh my gosh, everything is tangled. I took that Rowan felted tweed and I added it with this mohair from KnitPicks. So again, the Aloft, and this is in the colorway Labyrinth. And I did a swatch for it. And you can sort of see some of the tweed in it. But I love it. I have another sweater that's in a similar color. And I don't care. I'm making a Lento for myself. When I measured this, so I just did this swatch yesterday, and then it was dry this morning, and so I counted, and I'm getting 16 stitches, and you need 15 for this. And so I'm just gonna go up a size. After doing the math, I'm gonna go up a size, and I will get the size that I want. So for me, what I do is, and I read this on a blog somewhere, maybe some of you do it as well, or I know there's a bunch of ways to do the math for all of this, is pick the size you wanna make, multiply that by the number of stitches it's supposed to have, and then divide it by the number of stitches you're getting. And then it will give you the size that it should be, or that you would get with that gauge. Does that make sense? So number of stitches, or no, yeah, number of stitches for the gauge that the pattern calls for, multiplied by the size you want to make, divided by the number of stitches you're getting, and then you'll see the size that the sweater will be. So for me, getting 16 stitches, so I did 15 times whatever, size 50 divided by 16, and it's gonna be 40 something. Like it'll have, I think, 4 to 5 inches of positive ease, which is what I want. So this is gonna be this. I love the fabric. I think it's great. It's gonna be super light and airy, and I'm excited about that. So there'll be another Lento in my future. And one for me. And I think I'm just gonna do it the way that it's written in the pattern, not without the yarn overs, just because that detail is a little too delicate for what I personally would want out of a sweater. So yeah, this would be like the second the second sweater that the two of us will have, and I think that that's really fun. All right, so that's my Lento. The next thing in discussing making things is, just while we're talking about swatching, is the other roommate wanted a cardigan. And I was like, okay, cool. Showed some cardigans to him, and he really enjoyed. Have the pattern here as well. The Spice cardigan by Andrea Mowry. So that looks like that. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I think that'll be really fun. I thought it was mosaic knitting. It's color work. Yikes. But it's all good. Like, I feel more comfortable in doing that. So the pattern is written to be in spin cycle, and that is above my price point. So we looked at Yarn Hero, and I've never used Yarn Hero before, which was a little bit cheaper of an option. And so we landed on their worsted weight, and so that is a merino wool non-superwash, and it's 200 yards for 100 grams. And I think it's beautiful. It's got some pinks and browns and yellows, some purples, some grays mixed in there. And so here it is caked up. So you can see it's like a ton of fun colors, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to work with a new yarn. I get to try a pattern that I think is going to be a little bit difficult, but a ton of fun to make. And so we knew that we wanted that color as the contrast color. What we didn't know is what the main color of the sweater would be. So I was like, well, just tell me what colors you're thinking. He wanted something that was gray, but he didn't really know what color gray. And so what I did was, am I missing one? Oh no, I'm not. I went to KnitPicks and I just ordered, when I was ordering the yarn for this, the Lento sweater, I ordered just one skein of each of the worsted, their Wool of the Andes worsted weight. And so it's 110 yards for 100 grams. And I thought I would do a little swatch with all the colors. So the first one we have is Mist. It's a lighter gray. Then the second one we have is Cobblestone Heather, which is a medium gray. Then we have Onyx Heather, which is a darker gray, a little bit of blue, like purpley hues in it. It's really pretty. And then the last one, because I was like, oh, I think this will be fun, is Solstice Heather, which is a really nice, almost a little lighter than navy blue. Yeah, that looks more true to color for him to decide. So I'm kind of patting myself on the back because I think that this is amazing, but nothing new. What I did was I doubled the amount of stitches that the gauge was supposed to be, and then I added a couple because you are going to have to steek this. So I wanted to try the crocheted steek, where you like go in and you crochet up and then you crochet up along the other side of the stitch and then you cut. So what I ended up with was this huge swatch. So this was, that way I didn't have to cut the Yarn Hero yarn either. I could just keep carrying it along while I was changing the main color of what the cardigan could be to show him. I thought this was a great idea. He was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, actually. And then we could see all the colors next to each other. And then if it's like, oh, I don't like that one, eliminate. Oh, I don't eliminate. You know what I mean? Or you could just fold it and cover it. And, oh, I like this. So this is all of the colors knit using the Yarn Hero yarn. I think I'm going to weave in the ends and we're just going to use it as like a little mug rug. And I think we landed on the Cobblestone Heather. The dark gray, before it was knit up, he really loved. And then seeing it with the yarn, he was like, oh, I kind of like this other color instead. So we're going to go with this color as our main. So that yarn will get ordered soon. And yeah, I did my crochet along and I cut, and it was fairly easy. I really wanted to needle felt it because I loved doing that when I did the Maya, but yeah, trying a new technique was really fun. It wasn't scary at all. It was a little difficult at first to figure out how to get the stitches in, but I watched a video and was like, oh, that's so easy. Yeah, sat on the couch, cut it, threw it in the bath, did a little block for it. Yeah, this also made me happy because with the Maya, like each time I'm getting a little bit better, right? And I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. Like when I did my once in floral, I was like, okay, that was fingering weight. Ooh, and that was in superwash. It's like, okay, this is looking really good. It's not puckering too much. Like it looks great. For the Maya worsted non-superwash, everything laid flat. And for this worsted, everything's laying flat again. I think it's gonna make a really beautiful fabric. I can't wait to get started on this. The color works pretty easy. The chart, well, the chart that you swatch in was A breeze to follow. I memorized it, made this little swatch. So that's why I was saying I have like 3 and some things that are gonna start. So the Spice cardigan will be coming soon. Okay. Last thing is that I'm working on is I told you there's so much. So I finished those other socks and I needed something to take on the bus with me. Well, I took that Lento, the smaller. Oh, I only have one right now. I took the Lento with me on the bus just to get started because it was a small project at first. And then I was working on it at home. And so once I needed to swap it out, I decided to cast on a pair of another pair of socks. This is the Felici fingering weights in Bookshop. It's 218 yards for 50 grams. So there's some fun colors in there. Cast these on. And yeah, I've been taking them with me while I've been on the bus. So here's what they look like knit up. These are done on a US 1. I'm doing them 2 at a time. These are Chowgoo's red lace. And yeah, I think these are super fun. They're gonna match as well. Getting a little bit better at starting the things in similar spots. So that's fun. I don't really care if they don't match, but it is nice when they do. So yeah, these are just socks. They're vanilla. I love the colors. I think they're really fun. And right, these just doing the cones, going. They're just socks. I'm actually loving. I was looking at the ones that I made because now they have like their own cubby and it's filling up, and that brings me a lot of joy. All right, so that's that. That's all I've been working on. This episode is gonna be long. I apologize to everyone. All right, a couple things that I purchased while I was getting other things. So when I ordered all the sample things for the Spice cardigan, I also picked up some Simply wool in the color Wadsworth. This is a worsted weight. It's 218 yards for 100 grams. I thought that this would possibly go into the mix, but when it arrived, it was a little too brown, and so we opted not to use it. So it's just going to go in stash and will probably be a hat or some mittens at some point. I also picked up some more Felici in the color Bebop. I think these will make really fun socks. It's like yellows and reds and blue, light blue and gray. So those are fun. And then the last thing was, sorry for the crinkles, is when I ordered the Yarn Hero yarn, I was like, well, obviously I want something for myself. So I picked up 2 of the Color Mix sock. And these are 80/20 Superwash Merino nylon. And it's a heavy fingering, so there's 385 yards to these. And oh my god, I'm obsessed. I think these are really gorge. This one's gonna be fun. This one's gonna be fun. I kind of want to make a pair of, I think they're Curio socks by Andrew Mowry. So this one is called Early Spring, and this one is Garden Party. Oh, so clearly I'm getting ready for the warmer weather. Yeah, so these 2 I got for myself. I'll probably make those Curio socks using these. Yeah, I'm very excited. All right, last but not least, I got a little piece mail in the mail from my friend Nancy over at Trilogy Yarn. And she sent, the time before, I showed you all the, it was in January. I showed you all the Broadway club that she has. It's a club, I think that you do it in 3 months, and each month it is a new colorway for the month designed or based on the colors from a playbill from a Broadway musical. Oof, that was a lot to say. So she was so kind and sent me over her Color Explosion mini set. I didn't take it out. I actually just opened it this morning because I wanted to be a little bit more surprised. So these are 20-gram minis. They're 80/20, so superwash merino and nylon. They're about 80 yards per a mini, and there's 6 in here. And so this club is sort of similar. Every month you get a thing of minis, all color explosion. You don't really know what you're getting. I thought this is really cool. Yeah, great club. And so because she's awesome, she sent over the code again. So it's Piece4PeaceCrafting at checkout, and that will get you 20% off any of her clubs. So you can do the Color Explosion Club. You can also do the Broadway Musical Club. Yeah, I would highly recommend going over and checking out the other clubs that Nancy has, because she's the queen of clubs. Also, too, in the description, or I think sometimes you can leave notes for people when you're checking out. Make sure that you're telling them where you found out about it from, even though using the code is letting them know that you were getting it from here. But it's always nice for dyers, makers to know where that traffic is coming from. But yeah, it's just good information for them to have. So that was a lot. I hope you all got some things done. The last thing I'm going to talk about is my music rec for this episode. I have been listening to a lot of stuff recently, and this popped up, and I spent a couple days just like revisiting this album and some others. And so my music rec this episode is going to be Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. Why are you falling? Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. R.I.P. Amy Winehouse. Amazing voice, tragic story. Love, love, love her. This album is wonderful. It like makes me feel a lot of things listening to it, because yeah, I really loved her as an artist, and it's so sad that she is no longer with us, because you know, you can only speculate what the music would sound like now if she were still with us and like had been in the game for a while. So we will continue to bump her catalog that she has left us with. So my music recs off of this album would be Me and Mr. Jones, Just Friends, and Tears Dry on Their Own. So Me and Mr. Jones, Just Friends, Tears Dry on Their Own. That's from Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. All right, y'all. That's all I have for this episode. I hope that everyone enjoyed catching up, getting to spend a little time with me on this Sunday. If you're watching this on Sunday, I hope you're excited for Rihanna's concert that's happening a little later today. I think there's a game attached to it, but yeah, I don't know anything about that. And yeah, if you're not watching it on Sunday and you're watching it some other time, I hope that wherever you are, you're finding a little bit of peace, maybe some quiet while you are working on things and just watching this. Yeah, I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the fake changing of the seasons right now. And you're getting to make some really beautiful things. Anyway, I'm getting giggly, don't know what I'm talking about. And until I see you next time, make a peace, spread some peace. Peace.